Good afternoon, 6-4 parents. Mr. Hagedorn here with our weekly math update. In Math 6 next week, we are going to be continuing with our expressions and equations unit. We're going to start talking about how do we add and multiply variables, and then how do we do the distributive property when we have variables, and also how do we simplify expressions when we have variables. So lots of stuff with variables going on next week. All right, in Math 6 Plus, we're going to start talking a lot more about percentages. We started that today. We're going to work on that all next week. How we can take percentage problems and we can write equations to help us solve those problems. And on Friday, we will start our study guide for 7th grade Unit 4. All right, have a great weekend.
Hey, ELA's in the house. So today kids took their final flush assessment and they did amazing. Super proud. And the one thing I found after looking over their data is that they have figurative language in their toolkit. Woohoo! So we're not going to have that quiz on Monday, and I'll try to let the kids know, but pass that on. We were going to have figurative language quiz on Monday, and they are doing great. So next week we move into our Unit 3, which is making and creating and researching an informative consumer guide for how to buy fish responsibly. And lastly, thanks for the tissues. I sent out the call this morning and got a lot of tissues, so I think we're good. Pretty sure next week we're going to be low on diamonds. So you parents feel free to just send in that jewelry and I'll be happy to wear it. And Mr. O is shaking his head.
That's unbelievably bad. However, hello 6-4. This is science. We ended plate tectonics on Wednesday when we did our earthquake structures, and then we moved into soil right on Thursday. So we are in very brief units, only like 7 days long. We first talk about what makes up soil. The same 5 ingredients in soil are found around the world. And we'll talk about soil properties. We're going to talk about how soils are similar and different from each other. We're going to look at different climate profiles of soil, meaning the soil in the rainforest in South America is pretty similar to the soil in the rainforest in India. And we're going to use that, and we'll finish up soils shockingly a week from today. So next Friday, we'll be done with soil. It's a very quick, brief unit. It's pretty literal, so the kids will do pretty well with it. So we're looking forward to that next week.
All right, parents, let's talk a little bit about social studies. We are deep in our unit on economics. We've gone over the basics of economics. We've talked about different types of resources. We've talked about different types of economies. We've talked about a couple of the other important vocabulary words. And now we're jumping into the historic aspects of economics. So yesterday, we were talking about Mesopotamia and some of the trade and the natural resources that were around there and what they were importing and exporting. We're going to play a simulation game on Monday, which we introduced today. That'll be a fun trading game back and forth. We're going to talk about the Silk Road next week, and then end probably early the week after that with some conversation around the gold and salt trade of West Africa. We're also going to introduce them to Mansa Musa, probably someone that most people have never heard of before, yet he was one of the richest men in human history. So we're going to be finishing off our unit on economics in probably about a week and a half, and then we will get into a small little unit on social structure, or how we rank people, how we treat people differently, and how we put people in order in the ancient world. Have a lovely weekend. We'll see you back here next week.